So we've hit the red light. Hopefully you're ready to do a podcast episode here. Why don't you start off? Let's do a simple sound check. Why don't you tell my listeners what you had for breakfast this morning?
This morning I had a cup of tea, with apple tea, and then I had some muesli, so basically cornflakes, and that's about it.
Okay. Is that a standard? Are you a tea drinker every morning?
Yeah, I'm pretty much a tea drinker in the morning. Only when I go to the office, then I start to have coffee. At home, I only start with tea.
Okay. All right. So you're a tea connoisseur, it sounds like.
Not really.
No? Okay.
I'm not British. I'm German.
Okay.
It's the easiest thing to do in the morning.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think we're sounding all right. Let's see if we can jump into this. So why don't you tell my listeners what you are currently raising money for on Kickstarter?
Okay, we have developed a self-balancing vehicle, which is the perfect supplement for everyday commute. Because the innovation is that it is foldable. So whenever you not want to use it, you can just carry it with you. And for us, that's a huge benefit because you can have it in the trunk of your car, or you can take it on the subway. And you don't have to walk these distances that nowadays you would take the car for. So it's a classic last mile device.
That's sweet. So that doesn't seem like something that you just start off building. How on earth did you come up with this and start the project of building one of these units?
That's a very long story, because we've started 2.5 years ago developing this vehicle, and it was Felix, one of my co-founders. He had built himself an electric vehicle by buying an old BMW convertible, and he had just replaced all the parts that were gasoline or a combustion engine, and he replaced it with an electric engine, an electric motor. And then he drove to the town with 1.5 million inhabitants. And then he found out that even now that he had this electric car, he would still be stuck in traffic. And that was the moment when he started to think about vehicles getting smaller than the thing we know as a vehicle nowadays, basically a car. That's how it all started.
Wow. So doesn't sound like an average story. It's not something I would do. I've never I'll just make my own engine in a car. How do you just, education wise, is that something that he's always studied, or is that something you guys have always worked on? How do you just get into making electric vehicles for yourself and stuff?
It is exactly, we did study that. Felix, he did an apprenticeship, or he started his career with an apprenticeship where he learned everything about lightweight materials, especially carbon fiber. And then he started studying engineering, mechanical engineering, where there's a lot of electrical engineering as well in there. And that's Jacob and Felix. These are my two other co-founders. They're both the engineers, and they just always had the fable for electric drives. And also within the studies, they learned everything about the theories behind electric drives. And of course, in the last 3 or 4 years, you started to see a lot of Tesla's industry. People were writing about electric cars. I mean, BMW here, they have the i3. So it's gotten a lot into the heads of people. And that's where this whole journey to electric mobility started.
Yeah, that's great. So what was kind of the first thing out of the gate that you had to work on to actually get a prototype of this? What was the first steps out to get to where you are right now?
The first step was Felix vehicle could be, with no regard to technical ability to build something or physical, what is possible, but just out of his mind, how he would imagine a very light and foldable vehicle to look like, and what the basic technology would be behind that. And he quickly ended. I mean, he also thought about a little electric kick scooter or stuff like that, or the bigger scooters or motorcycles even, but he very quickly came to this self-balancing vehicle, which from an engineering perspective is very, very intriguing to build, because it's very hard to, steering is really hard to build. So there's a challenge in that. It's not just you snap an electric engine to a scooter and then you can just drive off, but it's really a challenge to start the development from scratch.
Yeah. So this thing, so maybe you can walk me through a little bit. So it self-balances and you can like, right, you can turn on it and stuff as you're standing on it?
Yes, exactly. It's the self-balancing vehicle was invented by Segway.
Mm-hmm.
So it has two wheels on each side and it balances itself back and forth. So when you stand on it, it is possible to just really stand on it. There's no need to always be in driving mode. You can stand still if you're at a traffic light, for example. And you accelerated it by just moving your body forward or your body weight forwards. Then it starts to accelerate beneath you and it brakes the exact opposite. You just have to lean backwards. And that's how it knows that it's supposed to stop. Because the vehicle, if you put it in easy words, the vehicle just tries to catch you all the time. It's just as if you were falling and the vehicle beneath you just tries to follow you so you don't fall off.
Wow.
That's how it works.
That's amazing. How so are these out in the wild right now? Are people using them currently? Are there some prototypes out there?
We have prototypes of our vehicles, yes. We have people using them, but not on a daily basis yet. These are just our prototypes. We give them out or we hand them out for test drives. People who really want to use them, for us it's okay because we need the feedback of actual users and not people like us who, we're driving up and down the hallway every day and we keep testing them outside in rough fields or in the streets and everything, but we need really the feedback of users who've never tried our vehicle and also people who've never tried the self-balancing vehicles itself. So people who've never been standing on a Segway or anything, for us it's the perfect testing candidates because their impression is unbiased.
Right. So what has been maybe the biggest roadblock in the last 2 years on this journey? Has there been something that, I don't know, you guys just couldn't figure out or something that, what's the biggest roadblock?
Roadblock for us, we've hit a lot of rocks these last 2 years. We have started development with our first prototype, which really looked cool, had the perfect setup. We calculated this through, and then when we activated it, we had laminated everything together, we had glued it together, and then when we so it couldn't really balance. Then we started to recalculate everything, did everything new. But for us, I think the biggest step in the last 2 years was this crowdfunding campaign, because that was the first time that external customers would pay money or would be willing to pay money for this product. We have been to a lot of conventions, trade fairs, shows, exhibitions to present our vehicle, to talk to people, ask feedback, but never has anyone really bought one from us. So for us, that was really, or is really a very important step. For us, this is the proof of market that the thing or the vehicle we're building is really for people to use, and people also see it like that. So they really want to use it. They want to have it in their everyday life.
And is there a moment though that you guys had that really it all came together? Was there a moment where you're like, it's all working clearly, and maybe it is the Kickstarter right now, but was there a moment maybe in the prototyping and phasing and all that stuff where you're like, it's working, it's doing its thing, we
had this moment. We had, from a technical perspective, we had built like this prototype, which was an aluminum open frame with all our different electric parts. The designer made the package design for us. So not the package itself, but the outside of the vehicle. Mm-hmm. And then this year in June, we started to build the first real pre-series prototype, which looks like the final product and which is also functional. And there was really the moment for the first time when we plugged it in and we charged it and then we activated it, and this was the moment when it all came together. We saw that the lights were on. We stepped on it. I mean, it wasn't perfect back then, far from it, but we could step on it, and it really did the thing that we expected it to do. But it drove off.
Yeah,
So
that's great.
That was
Yeah.
really a great moment for us.
I'm sure after and as a like a project creator, as an entrepreneur, how do you fight through those ups and downs of, you know, bad days, bumps in the road, and then all of a sudden it's there? Like, how do you manage and maintain that sort of that roller coaster when you're working on a project like this?
The good thing is that we have 3 people, so we can always balance each other out. Never has there been a day where all 3 of us were in the mood of, oh, this is the end, it's never going to work. There's always one who still believes in the vision and just keeps on fighting. So that's very important, that we can just support each other and just tell each other when we have a bad day that we're still going to continue and we're still going to work on, because it's going to work, or not only from a technical but also from a market perspective. And on the other side, it's really good when you have these moments when you're very enthused, and you can share your joy with the other founders.
Sure.
So I mean, now especially with the Kickstarter campaign, we have to look out for each other to bring ourselves a little bit back to the roots and not just take off.
Mm-hmm.
Because now it's going really good, and but still there was a lot of work. It's not like everything just fell into place automatically. So we also, from a positive, I mean, we celebrate and we also cheered, but still we know there's a lot of work in front of us, and it's not just done with like one.
Right.
Still a long way for us.
Sure. So, you know, with a project like this, it seems like you're kind of going into this space of, and we're kind of seeing it right now with travel, right? With convenience, we got the bird scooter thing that's going on here. That's been a big story here. I'm in Detroit. So, you know, everybody's riding these scooters and then just leaving them. And then you have the Segway, and we have, you know, we need to ride more bikes for climate change and all that sort of, like, everybody should be not in a car for every single thing. So are you guys feel like you're a part of that sort of movement? Is that something that's behind the scenes in terms of pushing this sort of idea and stuff, is to get people thinking about transportation differently? Oh, and I think we lost Sebastian there. I don't know what's going on with Zoom, but you back?
I'm back. I'm very sorry.
No, it's all right. It's all right. No worries. That's all right. It'll be all I have to do is literally just clip that part out, so it won't be a big edit.
Okay, now, but I think now it works much better. I can hear you much better now.
Oh, good. Well, that's good. Well, maybe we had to experience that. So, I don't know. Did you hear that question? Otherwise, I can re-ask the question. Then I'll just edit myself out.
Okay. No, I didn't hear the question anymore. Just totally blocked out. Sorry.
That's all right. No worries. I'll pick it up right from there. So, all right, let me just think about how I brought this in. All right, there we go. So I wanted to ask a little bit around, do you guys feel like you're a part of this movement around sort of the climate change scenario around travel, right? And how we are using like bird scooters right now here in Detroit. That's a big story where we need to be riding bikes more. We don't need to get into a car to literally go to the grocery store around the block. Do you feel like you guys want to be a part of that movement? Is that something that's pushing sort of the technology and the ideas behind the scenes?
Yes, exactly. That's what where we see ourselves. We want to be part of the story where cars don't play such a big role in the minds of people anymore. Because nowadays everybody just takes his car to go like 1 mile around the corner to buy some groceries, just like you said. But it's not necessary. Also, people, when they think about going to their job in the morning, all they think about is taking their car. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Also because public transport, the nearest station is far away from their house a lot of times. And we see ourselves as being able to bridge these distances that people just don't like to walk and instead just take the car instead because they prefer the comfort over everything else. Even though everybody knows that taking the car is bad for the environment and everything, but still comfort is the top priority of everybody. And that's where we do see ourselves.
Yeah. What do you think? So this is a big topic around actually in my neighborhood and stuff because I live in a downtown. Everything's walking distance, literally everything. And yet we have 2 cars. I have 2 car payments, 2 car insurances. What is going to make people, in your guys' mind, what do you think is going to be that thing that tells people that you don't need to have cars a part of everything? Like, is it a government thing? Is it just people wanting it? Like, what do you see happening? Especially as I'm in the States, I'm in Detroit, I'm in Motor City, right? Like, it's all about cars here, no matter what. So I think we fight it a lot over here.
It's the same thing actually in Munich, because in Munich we have BMW, we have Mini, we have Audi sitting right around here. So also it's Motor City and people love their cars. But in the future, I think the thing that makes people not want to not want to use it anymore is just that not taking the car and taking the train instead, or taking all these micro mobility solutions, is that speed. Because you're gonna be faster through downtown Detroit with all these types of micro mobility vehicles like ours instead of your car. I mean, if you live somewhere in the countryside and you have to travel a distance of 20 or 30 miles, then there's hands down the best possibility to ride is a car still, and it's gonna be in the future as well. Right. But if you live in a downtown area where congestion and traffics are an everyday occurrence, then I think people will understand that in the future, it is the better way for them to travel with another mode of transportation.
Right.
And it's something that will come in natural when they start seeing that people with a scooter or with a self-balancing vehicle will just overtake them in traffic.
Yeah. Do you think, like for you guys, when you talk marketing behind the scenes, do you have any like conversations around how to fight the stigma of it, right? Like there's the Segway stigma and that sort of stuff. Like, how do you guys talk about that internally of like what you're doing technology wise is out of this world amazing, but how do you bridge that next gap of like, yeah, but this has to still fit into people's daily lives? For us, that's the innovation that we bring with the lightweight and with the folding mechanism. Of course, it has a little bit the stigma of the Segway, but people, thanks for us, people don't see it as just another Segway replacement. They see the benefits. Because the question has always been, why hasn't Segway been more successful? Because the product they had the idea behind the product was really good, actually, but there were a lot of downsides. It was very heavy, it was bulky, and it was way too expensive. I mean, you could buy a car for the price of a Segway. Right. And that's where we see that our product is superior over a Segway, and that's also why people don't start to compare it to a Segway. For us, it's more that people ask us in comparison to like a Bird or a Lime scooter, how do we compare there? How does an e-kick scooter compare to our vehicle? That's where people keep asking us. Yeah. But for us, the thing we say is that we have the light electric vehicle with the best user experience, because you can just take it with you. It's going to be yours. It's going to be there. It's going to be, you can rely on it.
and you can just take it with you. That's the easiest way you can ensure that you have a safe journey with I mean, not safe in when thinking of security, but safe it's plannable. You know that how you're gonna get to the train. You can take the train. You're not gonna miss it, and in the end, there's gonna be the vehicle. It's gonna be there for you. It's not. You don't have to look for it. It's just gonna be in your hand.
Sure.
And that's what we think will be the best argument for people.
No, I totally get it. I mean, I think that's a great point you just made in terms of, I think one of the deterrents of, let's just say, walking, right? So like, well, it might be 35 minutes to walk there, you know? And it's like, well, I still need to work. I can't just, and I deal with this every day. I have to pick up my kids. It's a 30-minute walk. This is not ridiculous. And I'm totally, you know, but I have to still work, you know? So it's like, I can take an hour of walking or just go pick them up, come back. So if I can cut that time down, yeah, I'd seriously go walk there. I don't need to do it. But I think that's those things. It's the convenience factor. And I think there's a bigger part of that too, that I keep hitting on of like, you know, we don't need to be rushing as much, right? So like if I can plan and be like, listen, I know it's 6 blocks away to the train station. This thing, I put this on, or I step on this, it takes me, you know, whatever it is, 10 minutes, you know, 15 minutes. That's what you have to get to. And people have to start thinking that way a little bit. So, you know, so for this sort of product, I mean, what have you guys envisioned as like the user base? Like how do you guys describe in terms of like a buyer persona? Who do you guys think in your mind is the person that's going to take the dive and buy this?
Actually, for us, that's twofold. There's going to be 2 categories of people who are going to buy it. The one is the people that are going to have it in the trunk of their car and see it as an extension to their car. They don't need to drive downtown anymore. They just park further outside, and they can ride the last piece of their journey quicker on our vehicle. And that's perfect. It's very small. It can just fit in the trunk on the side. It's not going to be in your way. And the second group, the second persona, is really the guy who nowadays would take the car to go into the city, but who knows already that the car isn't the best solution, but that public transport would be better for him. So we see us there as bridging his way from the station to his house and to the office.
That's great.
And nowadays he wouldn't do that because he has to walk or take a bike or anything. But for most people, that really doesn't work out too much. And even though, I mean, we all know that walking would be the best exercise for everybody. You should definitely do sports and everything. There's nothing wrong with walking, but as you said, it's like an hour of your day that you have to. It's not about the sports. It's about fitting that into your everyday life.
Mm-hmm. And no, I agree. Yeah, it's what it is. Where, you know, how do you guys get through like safety issues on this? I've worked on a couple projects where safety was like a deterrent with it. One of them was like a tree stand for hunters, and the insurance per tree stand of like, you have people going up in the middle of a tree, they could fall. How do you guys how do you guys work that sort of scenario in terms of like insurance and safety regulations and all that sort of stuff?
We work with insurance companies here in Germany as well. But for us, we have in Germany, the regulation in regard to safety and security is probably going to be the highest standards you can get in the world. Because in Germany, the vehicle itself won't be just allowed or approved for the street. You have to make sure that it fits in sort of, for example, brake performance. You need to have certain brake performance. You need to be able to ensure that if the system shuts down, you can still brake or come to a complete stop without falling down, stuff like that. And that's everything we do somehow relates to safety. Because of course, riding is the thing we sell, but it's easy to develop. A vehicle that just drives is really not a challenge. But a vehicle that drives safely, that's where it comes to a real challenge. And that's, we develop a lot of, not products, a lot of steps only to match this safety standards, which we definitely need to fulfill and also want to, because we don't want to see people fall off these things. We don't want to see, for example, batteries burning. Mm-hmm. A lot of these China hoverboards, the batteries started to burn. And that's something we really don't want. And that doesn't also, I mean, somehow the word German engineering means something. And we're looking forward to fulfilling this promise also.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, it's awesome. Well, let's move away from insurance talk because I don't know how exciting that is for everybody in the world. But but let's talk about the actual Kickstarter campaign. So, so we're talking. You've got about 16 days to go while we're talking right now. So when I put this out, it'll probably be 14 or 13 days to go. And I'm looking at US dollars, but you had about a $75,000 goal, give or take, and you guys are currently sitting at over 181,000. So that's a ton of money, number one, but also you had 159 backers, which is great. 159 people that, as of right now, who have taken the plunge and pre-ordered this thing. What did you do to kind of get ready for the Kickstarter? I mean, what was sort of the strategy behind the scenes? What were you planning on doing? And what do you think the success is on this thing right now?
We have started to work on this Kickstarter campaign. I mean, really focused work was probably 4 months before that, 4.5 months before that. And we really had our go-to market or go-to Kickstarter strategy. We talked to a lot of people with successful campaigns, asked them about their experience, what they did, or how they achieved their success. And also we looked at a lot of campaigns who didn't achieve their goals or failed, or after the campaign was finished, didn't fulfill, because we wanted to know what could go wrong, or also what people are expecting, because we've never started a Kickstarter campaign before. We didn't know what was upon us. So we really had a very definite plan, and we followed through. And for us, since we already started development 2.5 years ago, we have already started to build up a fan base, or people who supported us, who followed our development. And at the end, I mean, what we didn't do is we didn't go to like a big marketing agency who promised us, the world, and then they wanted a 30% cut of our sales, because for us, that didn't make sense. Right. It's a high-end product, it's very expensive, and people will not just buy it because they see a Facebook ad somewhere.
Right.
People really buy it because they can identify themselves with our idea. And that's actually the basis we founded our communication strategy on. We didn't pay for ads or anything. Most things we did was we went to press and we told our story. And then also what we did is we went to influencers and had them test drive our existing prototypes, because also it is an expensive product, but people really, they can't just test it. They can't just, if they want, they can always come by and test it right here, but Kickstarter is a global thing. And I think we sold vehicles to Hong Kong, Singapore, to the US already. It's not like they can just come by our office and try the vehicle. So that for us was really the challenge to convince people of our ability to build this vehicle without being able to talk to them in person. And I think we really mastered this. Being able to tell people the story why we will be able to build this vehicle in the future.
Well, yeah, there's definitely no doubt about that. Was there any metrics you were looking for before you actually hit the launch button? Was there like, hey, we want to have X amount of influencers or this many email addresses? Was there any metrics internally that you were trying to hit?
Everybody keeps talking about these email addresses that they have on their list. And to be honest, our email list was really, really tiny. Everybody would be laughing. I think it was beneath 1,000. It was maybe 800 or 900 people on the list that everybody just keeps talking about. But in the end, these people on the conversion rate from our list was really bad. So that's also why we didn't focus on building up this list, because you don't know who's going to sign up to your list or where you get the contact from. It's just somebody who may or may not have seen a picture of your vehicle and has no idea what he's signing up to. So for us, it was really important to have the direct contact to people. So for us, it was more of, if you say the influencers, we had picked out the influencers from the very special field of urban micromobility. They didn't have millions of followers. They had maybe 1,000 or 2,000 followers following their YouTube channels, but these are exactly the people that we wanted to address.
Right.
And that was exactly the thing that worked out at the end, because people saw the video somewhere and just hit the buy button within 30 seconds. They didn't even think about it twice. It was really crazy for us to see.
That is interesting. That's very intriguing. And for these influencers, was there something that you were offering them, or they just wanted to be a part of it? Was there relationships that you were building prior to? How did you go after, like, again, because, there's so many influencers. How did you even think that their audience was real? That sort of stuff. We've ran into that sometimes too, where we paid $100 to some influencer and their audience was all bots. It's like, that sucks.
I would never pay $100 for an influencer. Either I pay them real money to make sure that it's a real offer, or I don't pay at all. Because for us, we thoroughly checked out these influencers. We checked the relation they had to their followers, if they interact with them, not only if they get a lot of comments, but also if they, for example, answer on these comments. If there's like a dialogue going on.
Right.
Because that for us was really important. And also, okay, somebody's just coming in, sorry. What was the question again?
Just about kind of like gauging the influencers and
how we did it. Yeah, we had, for some influencers, we had indirect contacts where we knew somebody who knew them personally, so we could just present ourselves and our vehicle to them. And for some, we just wrote them. And to be honest, we paid them. For some, we paid but for the production cost. So they told us, okay, production cost is going to be, I don't know, maybe €1,000. Can we share this half and half or something like that? And that's what we said. Of course, we're going to do that. We're not going to be the one just wanting everything for free, because that's not how it works.
Mm-hmm. And how about in terms of how did you guys come up with like a goal and stuff? I mean, it feels like a product like this, your goal could have been $2 million. I mean, you know what I mean? It could have been, but how did you determine minimum viability and this is the number we want to hit? This number is a big enough number, but not too big so that we'll hit our goal. How did you guys internally kind of discuss all that stuff before you hit the launch button?
We had a very open discussion about this, because our opinions went far apart. One guy was over here saying, okay, we need, 20,000 so we can hit it within the first hour. And the other one was like, no, we need for production, we're going to need 150,000 or something. But for us, we thought about how many customers would we feel comfortable with as a proof of market. Because for us, that's what Kickstarter is. It's not so much a funding thing, it's more of a proof of market thing, that people are willing to spend that amount of money. And for us, we thought if 60 people would be willing to pay over €1,000 1 year in advance for a product that they can't really even touch now, then this would be like the minimum viable
route. Right. It's funny how you say it that way. It's the amount of conversations I have where people are looking at the Kickstarter as like all the money, right? And I'm always just like, man, you're asking people to give you $400, $500 for something that they won't get for a year, that they can't touch. I mean, I think the way you just said it is a powerful thing, because it's just like, man, if you sold 50, 60, 100, this is very small numbers, but man, that's a lot of people to give you money for something that they can't touch, feel, see, and get for a year. Yeah. It really is it is an eye-opening thing that people just, man, if they look at it that way, then Kickstarter is an awesome tool. If you look at no, I need $400,000 off my Kickstarter. Well, good luck.
How is that ever going to work?
Right. And that's it. Yeah, it's like, and we always get to where a lot of people will send us, we call them the unicorns on Kickstarter, where it's like, yeah, okay, somehow they did 1.7 million. And then you research and they've been a company for 10 years and this is like their 10th product. And it's like, well, that's how they do it.
And you see, if you talk to them and if they're honest to you, they will tell you that they've spent, they may have collected over $1 million, but they spent $10,000 per day for marketing.
Right. So I'm like, and then my clients are like, well, I have an ad budget of about $5,000 total.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, cool. Well, let's see what we can do here. So, how though, during this Kickstarter, it's a very busy time, obviously, right? You got comments coming in, questions coming in, FAQ stuff, probably, responding to people. How are you guys staying organized just to make sure that you're on top of stuff and being very upfront in the campaign?
We did split up the work. So we have like a common email tool where we just answer all the direct questions we have, and also we make a list of additional questions that we really need to answer. So for us, a lot of people are asking to show different features of the vehicle, to make a video and maybe present it to them, and we just write that down, everything. And then we try to make videos to really fulfill the need of people for information, because people are seeking information actively. For us, that's a really good thing. It's a good sign. We do see that people really think about our product, think about how they're going to use it in their everyday life. And of course, questions will come up when you think about something. So for us, we try to be as honest and as open as we can, and still try to make every wish for a video or explanation or anything come true. And the best thing, or of course, the thing that works best is for people to just come by here personally and just check it out, everything in person. Because of course we can answer all these questions, but in the end, it's the best for people to just sit here with us on a table, get to know us, see how we're working, what it looks like, and then they can just answer a lot of their questions themselves. But we really, for us, it's really important to have open communication, because that's what we saw in a lot of failed Kickstarter campaigns, or Kickstarter campaigns that didn't go out as well, is that communication was just, at some point people just stopped communicating or just didn't take the time anymore. And it's a communication tool for us because we prove our market, but on the other hand, we also must oblige to then answer everything that's been sent into our direction.
Sure. So as I mentioned before, you have about 16 days to go while we're talking right now, and then it takes a few weeks for the money to all get into the bank accounts and whatnot. What starts to happen after money's in the bank account? How do you start getting this product into people's hands?
We have already started. We have, as I said, a complex product. We have already started to select manufacturers way back, like half a year ago, we've already started to show our product to manufacturers, tell them our expectations, what we need, what we don't need, maybe. And once the money's in our bank, we're going to have an investment round. So we're actively seeking investment. And that's also why we need this proof of market, because the investor said, yeah, great product, I believe in it, I believe that's the future, but still I want to see that people are willing to pay for it. So we're going to have this investment round, and with the money from Kickstarter and the investment money, we're going to build up a production at a manufacturer. So they're just going to tear down our product entirely, really assure that this is mass producible, and then they're going to start to build up a production line and start tooling. Very important step for us. We need a lot of tools, especially made for us, but these will all be manufactured then by our partner. And we expect the first vehicles from the manufacturer in July already. Nice. But this will be like 0 series, so pre-series. This will be mass manufactured already, but we can use these then for testing, certifications. Already we can send these out for more influencers and stuff like that, but this is not the vehicles that we can already ship to our backers on Kickstarter.
Right. So, and then how about like the 5-year plan? So where do you guys see you guys in 5 years? Is this just this one product? Is it multiple products? Is it making a ton of stuff in the portable mobility type of vibe? Where do you guys see 5 years from now?
We do see ourselves as an urban mobility company. So once this product has been successfully launched, we will start developing the second vehicle. We're not yet sure if it's going to be portable again or if it's going to be for another use case, but it's going to be an urban electric vehicle. That's everything I know.
That's cool.
Because that's our goal. We know that vehicles in urban areas can be or need to be electric, and they need to be smaller, but we don't know yet exactly what kind of way we're going to go. But also we see ourselves, because we're already talking with car manufacturers here in Germany, and they're really interested in our product. So within 5 years, I think we see ourselves in the trunk of the car with a docking station.
That's interesting.
where you can then charge your vehicle and you have it with you every time. You just go to your car, because that's also the use case that I just described earlier. People have it in their trunks. And for us, that really makes sense. So that's also something we're working on. And I think within 5 years, this is definitely our goal, to have it in the trunk of the car.
That's awesome. Well, where can people find out more information, even outside of the Kickstarter? How can people dive into your world and see what you guys are working on?
Best thing is social media, of course, because we do a lot of updates, smaller stuff, the convention and summits we're attending, we post pictures. Also, YouTube is for us, it's very important, because there we can really present. I mean, it's not high quality stuff we put on YouTube, but it's just from our everyday life. Things we just little bits and pieces that we just cut together from the things we see and do. So YouTube, and of course on our website we have a news update section. But to be honest, social media is for us is the most important tool, because also that's the dialogue. People can send us questions, can ask us, they can comment, and we can comment back and send them the things they need or they want to see.
That's awesome. Well, Sebastian, I appreciate you taking time out of your day to have this conversation. This was an awesome conversation and really great product. So I encourage everybody out there, go check out UrmO right now over on Kickstarter. You got about 16 days to go. And again, really great product, totally inventive. It's something I've never seen on this. And you guys did an unbelievable job on the Kickstarter campaign. So congrats on that. Keep going, man. Keep going.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
No problem. All right. Have a great one. Thanks.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.